Good morning. I want to thank everyone for coming out to this public hearing on the millage rate. This is the third public hearing. I just wanted to make an administrative announcement this morning that we will continue to have the public hearing on the millage rate, but the vote will be deferred until a later date. We had a called meeting scheduled this morning at 10 a.m. to vote, but the board is going to take just a little bit more time and defer that action. So I will post that information at a later date, but we will continue with the hearing this morning. So Director Miller, would you like to begin your presentation?
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to clear up any possible misunderstandings that may be caused by the tax increase ads. The language in the ad is provided by the Georgia Department of Revenue and cannot be altered. Unfortunately, the language does not fully explain the intent. The county's 2020 millage rate for Rockdale County will be reduced. The proposal in front of you today is the proposal of the millage rate to be 18.90. And that is, last year's millage rate was 20.19. So therefore it is reduced. This year's tax digest included inflationary growth due to re-evaluations of property as required by law and by the tax assessor's office. Georgia law changed in 1999 to require local governments to calculate a rollback millage rate that would eliminate this growth. Therefore, even if the millage rate is reduced, but not reduced to the rollback, this is also considered a tax increase and must be advertised as such according to Georgia law because of the growth. The millage rate, the proposed millage rate again is 18.90, and this was calculated based off of our 2020 budget to balance the 2020 budget. The 18.90 is a rate, it's like charges for services. If once we receive the revenue, it is allocated to the biggest portion is public safety, and as you see, general government, court services, recreation, parks, and transportation. And these are some of the budget highlights that make up our $74.9 million budget. Again, for the rollback, they're asking, if you look at the very last total digest of 2020, they're asking to go back to the levels of 2019. And of course, our budget has increased from 2019 to 2020. If you can see again, the proposed millage rate is 18.90, and that's the lowest rate in 7 years. Also, another component is host, and it's homestead option sales tax. When you go and purchase something, out of the 7% tax, 1% goes to host. And this 1%, the intent was to provide taxpayers relief off of their tax bill and also provide the county with capital. So if you take a look at the blue line is the host exemption. And when the two lines meet, which is the host remittance, that's the revenue that we receive. When the two meet, that's when we can provide 100% off of your tax bill. That means you're not paying any taxes for the county. But as you can see, that line, the blue line is moving up. And as your property tax increase, it takes more to exempt your property. So for 2020, to exempt, to provide 100%, it would take $23 million. That means that 1% should generate $23 million. However, in 2020, it only generated 16 million. So if we provide the whole 16 million for tax relief and no capital, the citizens, the taxpayers would only get 70% because that 16 million is not at 23 million. However, today, what's part of the proposal is to provide only 60%. That means the taxpayer is only paying 40% of their M&O. So what's before you is the millage rate at 18.90 and the host exemption at 60. Again, the 18.90 was calculated to balance our 2020 budget. Not to receive any reserves, not going into the reserves, and not having any surplus. It's just to balance our 2020 budget, the 18.9. In front of you is the timeline, and as I heard that setting the millage rate will be deferred, but this is the third public hearing.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to our CFO and Director of Finance, Ms. Miller. I really do appreciate the breakdown of information this morning in the format in which you explained it to us all, Ms. Miller. We have been receiving a number of calls and concerns across the county because oftentimes during this process, citizens are quite confused. I want to also take a moment to take advantage to explain that here in our county, here in Rockdale County, citizens, as you know, you pay taxes to 3 separate entities. Because the tax statement comes out of the tax assessor's office, which is run by Rockdale County, oftentimes the tax assessor's office, which is run by Rockdale County, oftentimes folks think automatically that is a tax bill, but it says this is just a statement, this is not a bill. You're given a certain amount of time to appeal it or question some of the assessment that has come out of the tax assessor. But let me just take a moment and talk about those 3 entities, if I would, just before, because I think it's important to continue to educate and explain to our citizenry exactly where they're paying these taxes. In Rockdale County, there are 3 entities: Rockdale County, the City of Conyers, and the Rockdale County Public School System. It's important that not only folks watch us live and those who are here in our viewing audience to show up and participating in these meetings here that are hosted by the Rockdale County Board of Commissioners, but I do want to remind you that the Rockdale County Public Schools, the school system, they also have a meeting. They have also entertained the millage rate as well, and so does the City of Conyers. I just want to make sure I point that out because oftentimes citizens think only because the county government offers a television channel and we have a public platform that we're the only entity of the 3 that people should voice their concerns. If you live in the unincorporated area of Rockdale County, then there is not a real reason for you to show up at the city council's meeting. But certainly you do contribute to the Rockdale County public school system. Whether you have a young person enrolled in the school system or not, you are going to be taxed just simply because you are a resident here in Rockdale County. So I wanted to point that out because oftentimes folks think it is the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Commissioners only. There is the school board and there is the City of Conyers for those residents that will live within the city limits. I wanted to just take a moment Director Miller and Director Rutledge to point that out. Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams, I think it's important that we slow down sometimes to remind and educate our citizenry that there are 3 entities. We are one of the 3. At this time, Director Rutledge, are we clear to move forward with a public comment before we go into board comment?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
And I just want to remind everyone during the public hearing this morning, you do get 3 minutes per speaker, but it will be relative to the millage rate this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our first speaker up this morning will be Corelli Nisbet.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Coralie.
Coralie, Ms. Coralie.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Nesbitt.
much.
And I've been in the county now a year. And of course, I was here last July when it was the same issue. And based on her explanation, she gave more, detail as to what happened and why it was happening.
Very
but
good.
the statement was put out for someone, I wish I brought my phone with me, but for someone paying $100,000, it would mean like a $22 increase, I believe, if you had a homestead exemption. Is there any way to see, you could like plug in your value that you think your house might be at to be able to tell how much your taxes would increase?
So yes, ma'am, and thank you again. Let me just slow down and say that, and we certainly do appreciate you being out here with us again this morning. And I am delighted to know that the information provided by the CFO was a lot more understandable and comprehensive to you this morning. Yes, ma'am, to your question, yes. In fact, sitting in our audience is our Chief Tax Assessor, Mr. Barkley. Would you raise your hand? If you would see him at the end of this meeting, he would gladly set up an appointment where he can explain to you about your property tax assessment value and how that computes based upon your particular home and what you will be looking and anticipating to pay moving forward. But I just can't thank you enough because I think when people don't know, they don't know what sources, and you came certainly to the right source this morning. But if you would see our Chief Tax Assessor, Mr. Will Barkley, he will give you his card and he'll be able to take care of you and get that squared away for you.
And I'm one to keep to the time. She also said you're sticking to the millage rate, but I just wanted to just add something on the record that as a person who pays city and county, I found out that every service, basically most of my services are being done by the city. Have you guys ever considered giving those who pay city and county a break on the county taxes? Because when I call the police department, Rockdale doesn't show up, City of Conyers does. So I'm just saying, if nobody's ever thought about it, we're paying both at the full amount, but I'm not getting your services. I'm only using you for, I inquired the courthouse and other issues. So if nobody ever thought about it, give us a little break on the county if we're paying so much for the city.
Yes, ma'am. And to answer that, I would be more than interested in talking with you and explaining to you. We have only one city inside of Rockdale County.
I know.
And listen, we're proud of that too, by the way, that we only have one city, the small city of Conyers, which is nestled inside of Rockdale County. Right. But I'd love to have the opportunity to explain to you about all of the county services, whether you live in the city limits or the unincorporated area of Rockdale County, you still receive a benefit, and I can give you a list of services that we provide by you being a resident of Rockdale County, although you live within the city limits. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
If you please see about getting that information, and we'll get you in. Okay, Ms. Coralie, thank you so much. That is refreshing, yeah. Commissioners. She was quite refreshing, to say the least. I'm going to call up next Mr. Tim Schneider. Come on up, Mr. Schneider.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak this morning. I'm Tim Schneider. I'm the Vice President and Regional Manager with Ashley Capital. As many of you may know, Ashley Capital is an industrial developer with a significant presence in Rockdale County. We have developed or redeveloped 9 buildings in Rockdale County, totaling approximately 3 million square feet. We still own 8 of those buildings. We've invested in the range of $100 million in the county. Rockdale County has been a great place for us to do business since we made our first acquisition in 2002. Over the last several years, we have found it to be increasingly more difficult to be competitive with other areas in Metro Atlanta, primarily due to property taxes and particularly property tax assessments. When you combine the aggressive escalations of property tax assessments with one of Metro Atlanta's highest millage rates, the cost of doing business increases significantly for potential industry looking at Rockdale County. The cost of property taxes is passed through to our tenants in warehouse leases. The tenants we are targeting for Rockdale County are sophisticated and know to look at these costs, and we have had them pass over Rockdale County for neighboring communities with lower taxes. I have a spreadsheet that I'll share with you that I'd like to show that in some instances, the property taxes on our buildings here are 3 times higher than similar buildings in Metro Atlanta. We understand that part of the strategic plan for Envision Rockdale is to expand and grow and target stable employees who will still operate even during these trying times. Companies such as Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, Facebook, pharmaceutical companies, to name a few. These companies all need industrial space that we can provide, but we need your help to bring them here. We also want to keep our existing stakeholders, Golden State Foods, BioLab, Pratt, Bill Phoenix, for example, because they can and will leave if it becomes too expensive to operate in Rockdale County. The most recent example of not protecting our stakeholders is our building at 800 Sigmund Road, which is occupied by Golden State Food. The property tax assessment this year almost doubled, a cost which is passed on to Golden State Food, which came shortly after we granted Golden State Food a 50% reduction in their base rent to help them through the COVID-19 crisis. We would much rather these industries stay and reinvest in our community. While we recognize the importance of increasing the tax digest, we feel this should be done through economic development and not through punishment of existing taxpayers in Rockdale County. We strongly support the rollback of the millage rate, but would also ask that you further consider the bigger picture of an overall reevaluation of how Rockdale County is assessing properties.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. We certainly do appreciate you and Meredith coming out this morning, and we do value and appreciate the relationship with Ashley Capital and all of the industries here in Rockdale County that you named. I will tell you, as chairman of this board and speaking on behalf of this board, economic development is extremely high up on the radar for this administration. All of the people that it employ, not just the taxes that it pays in our community, but the total reinvestment back to Rockdale County. I certainly do appreciate you taking the time a couple of weeks ago, you and Meredith, to come in and sit down and talk with me. I think we're making some very progressive steps forward. The communication coming out of our tax assessor's office, I think that we are all on board to move forward with a more relationship toward partnership in our community as relates to all of the investment that the stakeholders in and around Rockdale are making. We need you all here, and I believe as we continue to move forward, we can progress in that direction. Very positive, creating a win-win for all of those persons involved. I appreciate you knowing the situation, the predicament that sometimes this board is in, making these very tough decisions as we consider all of the other stakeholders and businesses and industry just like yourself throughout here. So thank you so much for coming out, and we look forward to talking with you soon in the days ahead.
Great, thank you so much.
Next up is Ms. Lauren Henley. Ms. Henley, come on up.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
My name is Lauren, and I'm a homeowner in the city of Conyers. So as a mother of 5, I definitely want to ask, first and foremost, it's lowering the taxes, not raising it. Is that what this proposal is?
Right, there's a reduction. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. That's what the
So
proposal.
reducing it is fantastic, first and foremost. I wanted to clear that up because I just wanted to make sure.
And you also, I think you said, Ms. Henley, that you actually reside in the city.
In the city.
In the city limits. Have you had an opportunity to go to the city council's meeting concerning their millage rate?
I haven't, but.
Are you aware that they do have a meeting?
No, I'm.
Let me ask you this. Did you know you have a mayor and a city council here?
In this room, you mean?
No, here in this community.
Oh, I know. I've seen the mayor speak.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I just wanted to make sure.
But, yeah. And
right.
I've seen some of this stuff. He came and talked at our church about putting signs up and how he was going to raise the cost to put signs up around the city.
Okay. So I just want to make sure you know that you can go to the city council meeting as well and take up the issue then with them as well. because
Are you talking about the 10 a.m. meeting?
I'm not sure.
For the tax, well, anyway. I just wanted to have my input in terms of, I'm glad that you're lowering it. I really do hope that it'll be, significantly lowered because it does, with everything going on, it's difficult to have to pay taxes on top of everything else. And especially if it were raised, which I had thought that's what was happening. But, yeah.
Well, two things. As you heard from the CFO when she was giving her opening statement about the clarity in terms of the statement that went to the media versus what we're actually doing.
I understand it's legalese.
Right.
So
and the second thing I wanted to make sure, since you stated that you are a resident of the city limits of the city of Conyers, I want to make sure that you were not confused if you lived in the unincorporated area of Rockdale County.
I am most certainly in the city.
Okay, so you need to also take some time and go visit the city hall and figure out when they're having their meetings and their hearings concerning city taxes, which is so totally separate from what we're doing here.
Right.
Today. Okay, all right, just want to make sure.
I will look into that.
Thank you so
for sure.
much.
So, well, anyway, that's about all I had to say.
Ms. Henley, thank you so much. All right. Next up is Mr. Manuel Diaz. Come on up, Mr. Diaz.
Yes, sir. I'm a resident here. I've been a resident for at least 25 years. And I'm wondering why the taxes keep going up. They are going up or down?
So I'm not sure. I'm going to take this opportunity again because I think there is some confusion. I'm not sure that you heard what the CFO was sharing with you this morning. The millage rate here in Rockdale County had been the same since 2015. You go pull your statement and check your statement and you will see what I'm sharing with you is factual, okay? The millage rate itself has been the same since 2015. What the CFO is proposing this morning is that we take a reduction. The past 5 years or the past 6 years, it has been 20.19. Her proposal this morning is that it goes down to 18.19, okay? So make sure that you're understanding that. I think when the newspaper and the media make their announcement, the headline says county taxes are going up. Well, you heard something totally different this morning because you're standing in here with us and we're giving you the real skinny on it. I just want to make sure you're digesting that properly.
Because I'm concerned if they're going up, because there's a lot of people that are retired and on fixed incomes.
Yes, there are.
That would just be theft of property if you were to raise the rent on them with taxes. And that was my concern.
Yes, sir.
Also the people that are not working and trying to pay for their homes.
Yes, sir.
Well,
Mr. Diaz, you're absolutely right. And there is a big difference between taxes going up and appraised property values. And that's some of the confusion as well. Again, the gentleman sitting right over to your left with his hand raised up. See his hand raised up there? That's your chief tax assessor, Mr. Barkley. Be sure you get his card as well, because he can bring some of that clarity to you and help you understand what we've been doing for the last few years at being at 20.19. And you can also check your records and you can verify what I'm saying. it is confusing when you hear one thing and then there's actually something else. I want to make sure that you're completely understanding what's really happening, okay? Thank you so much. And thank you for coming out this morning.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Yes, sir. Okay, I actually had two from Mr. Diaz. Are we overlooking anybody else? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I don't see any more.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move right on to board comments, and I will start with, if it's okay, Commissioner Washington, start with Commissioner Williams. Since she's, Commissioner Williams, we're going to start with you. You're virtual. Good morning. There she is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was just going to say that the city of Conyers held their millage rate hearings in July, and they have already voted on their millage rate. And so has the schools, and I believe we are the last of the three entities to set our millage rate.
Okay. Thank you.
So I appreciate the presentation this morning. I thought it was much clearer, and the fact that our millage rate is going down, but because of higher assessed values on the property, your tax bill may still go up if we keep it if we vote to the 18.9. And so just stay tuned to what we decide to do. I am still mulling over all of the possibilities, and I have clearly heard Mr. Schneider's comments. I spoke with Meredith on the phone last week. What we do for our business community, I think, is extremely important, and as well as the individual homeowner.
All right. Okay. Commissioner Washington.
Good morning. Good morning, Dr. Williams.
Good morning.
So I have also been putting a lot of time and energy into my thoughts on the millage rate and what is in the best interest of this county. This year, we're going through unprecedented times. There's never been a time where we have closed schools, closed government, closed businesses, all having some kind of effect on all of our daily lives. That, to me, coupled with the fact that Rockdale County is growing, it is, the values in Rockdale County are increasing, but we're still operating in kind of a place where we were 10 years ago with our assessed values, gives me pause. We have to assess our values correctly in order for us to be in line with what is expected with us with the state government. And so we have to do everything that we can to make sure that your values are being assessed correctly. That being said, I do also believe that when we're putting the time and energy into making sure that your values are being assessed correctly, it is incumbent upon us to offer some kind of education on what we're doing, why we're doing it, what can be expected in your tax bill, what our options are, so that you all will know that we're not just sitting here raising your values arbitrarily and then assessing a millage rate arbitrarily. I do get it for the businesses and the renters, because I rent my business, and of course my lease for my business is going to go up a whole lot depending on what we do here today. That being said, COVID has shut a lot of us down for months at a time. So my thoughts, what I was prepared to do today, I'm at, and I think I said it again. Started saying this last week, or 2 weeks ago, whenever we met. These are unprecedented times. We haven't been able to communicate as effectively as I would like to. I'm for this year, not as a philosophy, but as a necessity, keeping taxes where they are, sacrificing whatever capital we would have, and rolling up our kind of tightening our belt for 2021, and not having any tax increase. That's what I was prepared to do today, and I don't see me moving from that in any time ever, so before we vote. So that's where Sherry Washington is. Roll the millage rate all the way back, keep the 70% host.
Okay, thank you so much, both Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Washington. As you all can hear from all three of us, not only is this a tough job, but it's a tough decision, and we're not at a total decision yet to render to the public exactly what we're going to be doing. We will be doing that shortly, and as Commissioner Washington stated, please stand by, please stay tuned to what we're doing. I do appreciate all of the feedback this morning in the comments, and I also appreciate the observation on behalf of our Chief Financial Officer to bring in a presentation that was able to explain and reach the masses of all of those who are watching and listening in terms of giving the information where people can process it and digest it. As we hear often, understanding, number one, that there are three entities inside of our community, understanding the difference between a property value being assessed in a positive direction, which is up, versus the millage rate itself, and how all of that works and the impact it has on each and every individual resident and each and every individual business. It is, as Commissioner Washington has eloquently stated, these are the most unprecedented times we've ever seen before. We're not just making decisions for today. I want you to understand that we're also making decisions. The decisions that we make during this process will impact what happens this time next year and the year after that, and so forth and so on. And when the citizens in Rockdale County demand more services and more delivery of services, there is a cost involved. Ms. Carolee Nesbitt a moment ago, she said that she wanted to know all of the services that are provided by way of the county government. Well, I've got a list of those services, and we're already, as a government, we started at the middle of March when COVID-19 and this coronavirus showed up. We began to thrust into doing more with less. We furloughed some employees. We're looking at some other measures that we as a government are going to have to take. We're going to be forced to take that will impact delivery of services. And by law, as a county government, we are required to provide certain services that there must be in order for us to operate as a county. So we're going to always maintain those. But there are some things that we will consider as we continue to navigate through this pandemic that we, just like homeowners, and will have to make decisions to shave and save and cut back as we move forward. But please keep in mind that our goal is to keep the lights on in Rockdale County. We have to keep the county as a county up and running. And we realize that if we're asking you all, if the situation is demanding that homeowners and businesses cut back and do some shaving and saving, then certainly we as a county government, we're looking to do the same thing. And I must announce to you that we have already begun that process. It's never easy to furlough or lay off employees because there's another impact on households and lifestyles and families, but that's the decision that we have to make. And those are some of the decisions that we have to make in order to continue to move the county forward. I believe, Director Rutledge, that the pleasure of this board is to defer. Is that my understanding?
So, Mr. Chairman, as far as procedural, if we could close out the public hearing and adjourn this public hearing and then call the called meeting to order, and then the board can take action on the
From that.
resolution in front of them.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Again, I'd like to say thank you to all of those who are viewing this broadcast, and thank you for all of those who took the time out of your busy schedules to come out and to share your comment, your point of view, and your perspective this morning. We appreciate you being here. And at this portion of the meeting, Director Rutledge, is there any need for executive session for this portion of the meeting?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No need for executive session. I call this portion of our millage rate public hearing adjourned. Thank you so much.
Okay, and if we could call to order the called meeting for the millage rate, and we have a resolution in front of the board, and I believe the motion will be to defer this resolution.
Thank you so much, Director Rutledge. We are transitioning immediately right into the meeting where we will be calling to decide on the decision to move forward with the millage rate for this year. At this time, I'm officially calling this meeting to order, and we're moving forward with the resolution, and we will go forward at this time.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I believe there would be a motion on the floor to defer this resolution.
I move that we defer this resolution until to a time set by the board.
A future date.
To a
Yes.
future date.
I second that motion.
Thank you.
It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So the board has decided to defer making a decision on the millage rate until a future date, and that we will certainly be advertising
Yes, Mr.
very shortly in
Chairman.
the
We
days
will
to come.
advertise it, and we will include the public education piece that Director Miller went over this morning, and that will be at a future date. Thank you.
All right. Is there any need for an executive session regarding this portion?
No, Mr. Chairman.
With that being said, thank you, and I encourage all of you all to visit our website, all of our social media outlets for Rockdale County, so that you will be abreast on that upcoming and future date when a decision will be made. As of today, there's no decision that will be made. I'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we can roll right into the voting session, Mr. Chairman.
It is shortly after the 10 o'clock hour, and we are here at 903 Main Street in the heart of Old Town Conyers in Rockdale County. We are transitioning right into our regular scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting this morning. And we will, as all of our participants in this meeting take their rightful places this morning, we ask that you will prepare to transition with us as we begin to take up the county's meeting, the county's business, and the meeting of the business of the people of Rockdale County. At this time, we are now calling on, we're going to go right into our meeting this morning, and let's see here.
I believe we have the Pastor
Henry Leonard
available.
Pastor Leonard.
Here this morning.
Is Pastor Henry Leonard here with us this morning? He is not, but one thing about Rockdale County employees, they always stand ready whenever you call them, and they know that Chairman Nesbitt is subject to put them on the spot. And that being said, I'm going to call up none other than the one and only Captain Pass to come on up and lead us in invocation. Captain Pass always have a good prayer down in his spirit.
Yes.
And he's always ready. One thing I like about a praying police, I love myself a praying police. Ain't nothing like having a police that prays. Come on up, Captain Pass, and lead us in a word of invocation. And before you get started, look like you got some backup coming there. Is that a lieutenant coming up? All right. Ain't nothing like praying police in Rockdale County.
Father in heaven, we thank you that you have wisdom above ours. Thank you that decisions that are made in this room are covered by our Father in heaven. And I pray for that great wisdom to be put in our minds and our hearts so that as a county, we're going forward under you. With your help, your blessing, your care, we look right up to heaven, Father, and we believe for good things. Things from heaven, things will encourage and strengthen this community, decisions that are wise, that are informed, because you are the one that helps us do what we need to do for each other. In Jesus' name, we love you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Captain Pass. We certainly do appreciate you allowing us to put you on the spot. If we would stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You couldn't see from where I'm sitting, but Dr. Kimbrough was over there squirming in her seat, hoping and praying that I wouldn't call on her to do that prayer. And I just made eye contact with Captain Pass, and it was something about our spirits connected. And I said, well, I better call Captain. But you couldn't see Dr. Kimbrough. She was squirming in her seat.
I saw her.
You saw that? You saw that? You
trying
saw
to
that.
go underneath.
She tried. There's no way she can fit up under that pew. But anyway, I didn't mean to put on the spot like that. But one thing about most of our employees, they stay ready. So Dr. Kimbrough, in 2 weeks, just in case, be ready. Absolutely. All right, commissioners, we're moving now on to special recognitions this morning. We have some presentations. We will start with the recognition of outstanding leadership by Rockdale County employees, and none other than our talented Director of Talent Management, Director Tony Holmes. Director Holmes.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners, Chairman.
Good morning.
Exciting time as always. This morning, Chairman, Commissioners, we are going to be recognizing 10 individuals that, and we have mentioned and talked a lot about this morning during this unprecedented time. These individuals continue to push through. They completed training that was changed. Everything became different for them. So they were able to still push through and complete that training to improve their leadership abilities, their skills. And we also have someone that we're going to be recognizing for an award this morning. So at this time, we will go ahead and get started with the slideshow.
Okay.
And if you are here in the audience, I'm sorry, I know I invited everyone, so if you're streaming live, hello, but here's the slideshow. Go ahead. This morning, Chairman Chantal Hunt and Jasmine Springer, we are recognizing them for completing a management course with Florida Atlantic University. This was a course that they sought out on their own, took the initiative to do that. This prepared them for management in different roles and different industries. Definitely will be a benefit for us here at Rockdale County. This was a 4-week course, so congratulations to Chantal Hunt and Jasmine Springer. Now this here, which I'm so excited about as well, all of our leaders, Leadership Rockdale, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the 2020 class of Leadership Rockdale. This program is 7 months. If you guys have not seen it, their dedication for Leadership Rockdale is in Old Town Conyers. There's a bike rack that goes in between the 2 streets there, so definitely go take a look at it. This class, as you see them up here, they are responsible for creating that and dedicating that right here to our community. The first person I'm going to recognize is Ms. Patricia Carricker. If she's not here, she's definitely watching live, so congratulations, Patricia. Our very own Director of Public Relations, George Diaz, was also in the 2020 Leadership Rockdale class. Shawana Gaither from Accountability Court, she was also in that class. I did see Miss Mary Beth Hornbeck from our UGA Extension. She was in Leadership Rockdale. And then from my department, Claudette Rancifer, she lets us know every day about that dedication that they did. So we are so proud of them. Claudette Rancifer, Talent Management. Thank you, thank you. Our next category. NACO. NACO is the National Association of Counties. They had a high performance leadership academy. This was a 12-week program. all of this took place during COVID. I want to stress it again. All of it took place during COVID. So this program created frontline county government professionals with leadership skills. So I want to say a great, wonderful congratulations to Janetta Owens from Public Relations. Janetta. And Jasmine Springer, she's up here 2 times, you guys. So we're going to recognize her 2 times for the second time. Okay, and this one, no surprise to me when I saw this. This is our very own Sean Kimball. Sean, if you can wave. I think everybody can see you, Sean, this morning. Sean was a recipient of the Telly Awards. This particular award received over 12,000 entries, you guys, from all 50 states, 5 continents. We have someone right here from Rockdale County that is a recipient of the Telly Awards. So we would like to say congratulations to all of our award recipients. Mr. Chairman, we do have certificates for all of them. So if they are here in the audience, I would like them to come up and get their certificate so we can do one picture. Please wear your mask. If you're not here physically in the audience, then we will go ahead and send those out to you. So if we can take a moment and just do a quick photo for the people that are here that received their awards.
And while they're coming up, let's give them another round of applause as they make their way to the front. All right. I tell you, commissioners, we have some very talented people, and COVID did not stop the progress here in Rockdale County on behalf of our employees and very well talented group of people who are doing amazing and outstanding things on behalf of the county. And all of these skills that they're enhancing and enriching will certainly be able to be a major benefit for all of Rockdale County operations, as well as the citizens of Rockdale County as we continue to deliver services to all of our citizens throughout Rockdale County. When our employees take the initiative to really grow their skills and to increase their knowledge, it really does give a wonderful opportunity for us to hone in on those skills and take advantage of them and really be able to reinvest those skills back into our community with the citizens in which they serve. We have a wide variety of departments that are represented this morning, and I am just excited, super excited, as the folks over at Talent Management would say, about the accomplishments. And I think it's so important that we highlight the achievements and the accomplishments of all of our workforce and what the folks have done to gain these certificates. And it also sends a message. It sends a message to all of the other people in our workforce that you can certainly take the initiative and be an achiever, and you don't have to make excuses, because some could have decided that, well, due to COVID-19 or the coronavirus, that I will just sit idle. Well, these people decided to do something different, and they didn't sit idle, and they decided to move forward with their careers and advancing their careers. And I've heard from each and every one of them, they're doing some more personal and professional development. Join me if you would, commissioners. Give them a round of applause once again. All right. Mask up there and take a picture.
Thank you again. Congratulations.
Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams, we're so proud and fortunate to have super outstanding employees that represent us in all of our departments across Rockdale County. And again, we thank you for your achievements and your accomplishments, and we encourage you to keep up the good work. Moving on, at this time, we will have another presentation from none other than our very own Ms. Alice Cintron concerning the 2020 census. And as Ms. Cintron make her way, as she makes her way, we're gonna tell you that if you have not participated in the census, you still have time. And I'm sure she's gonna give us a little bit more information and update about what's really going on as relate to the 2020 census.
Thank you, Sean. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Alice Cintron, and I am the co-chair of the Rockdale Conyers Complete Count Committee, along with my co-chair, George Diaz. And I'm here to provide you with some information updates on several points about the census. So basically, they extended the census response time to, originally it was October 31st, but they have rolled it back 30 days, so we only have until September 29th to respond to the census. In the meantime, which is between now and September 29th, they will be sending people out to knock on doors at addresses where people have not yet responded. The current response rate for Rockdale County is 57.1%. The response rate for Conyers is 45.8%. The state of Georgia has a response rate of 59%, and the national response rate is 63.3%. Again, Rockdale, we are at 57.1%, and the city is at 45.8%. We need to get that response rate up. So in an effort to do that, we're undergoing a census blitz over the next 60 days, which is probably now 49 days, 48 days, 58. Okay, well, don't hold me on the math. But we're putting out signs in those areas in Rockdale that have the lowest response rates. And as you exit this meeting today, you will find a map out in the lobby that shows the areas in Rockdale County that have response rates according to the color. So if that makes sense, well, it does. Just look at the corresponding color and the boxes down below, and you'll see which areas of the county have the lowest response rates. Some of those areas include I-20 down Sigmund Road towards Milstead. Another area is Milstead, Main Street up Milstead to Sigmund Road. Another area is I-20 Fieldstone area, and another one, there's several others, I can't remember all of them, but one of them is Lakeview Estates, and another one is 138 Huntington Creek down towards Salem Road. So what we're asking is we're asking for people to volunteer to put out signs, put up yard signs, and put up posters and saturate the area with information regarding that it's still time to fill out your census and where you can go online to do that. The other thing that I wanted to note was that I wanted to point out that we have had a very active Complete Count Committee that has been very supportive and effective in getting the word out, especially in the communities with the lowest response rates. So with that said, on your way out today, we have buttons that say Ask Me. So again, we're encouraging people to, if you haven't filled out your census, to fill out your census, but wear a button so that someone can say, hey, what is that about? And then you tell them about the census, encourage them to fill it out. We have some notepads out there in English and Spanish that you can just carry around with you and share that we only have 60 days. The census count impacts our schools, impacts our government, our allocations, our public safety, our economic development, and so much more. So again, I just want to encourage you to decide. There's a sign-up sheet if you want to volunteer to put up signs and posters over the next 60 days. And there's some other items out there that we encourage you to take and share that we're in the last 60 days of responding to the census. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cintron, and thank you for your work and all of the work. Commissioner Washington, any comments on?
Absolutely. First, I would like to be the first to volunteer to get a yard sign so that, you know, I have, as a matter of fact, I need two, one for each side of my yard. The census is so important. If ever there's a time that we see how things impact certain communities at a certain proportion than other, this COVID should bring that home. The census provides resources for our hospitals, especially our schools, for our seniors. Somebody just made mention of the seniors and the fact that many of them are fixed income. The census takes, I don't think it took 2-3 minutes to fill out. It is so easy to understand, but it's so vitally important. It is probably the most important thing outside of voting that you can do civically in this country. And it's the most selfless thing that you can do also, because when you fill out the census, you're not just doing something for you and your family, you're doing something for the community as a whole. So I really, really do encourage everybody to fill out the census and do it. We have until September 30th. Well, I won't say that. We have till September 30th and get your census done and do it now while we have it, the opportunity, because we don't have this opportunity again for another 10 years. And another thing, this also determines our political boundaries. So if we're underrepresented, if we don't fill out the census, then we're going to be underrepresented in Congress. So I just really think that people don't understand the importance of it. Very important. Please do it, and do it now while it's on our minds.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you so much. Again, I too want to echo, we can't say enough about the importance of the census. And I want to encourage folks to start talking about it. Talk about it. I mean, we're talking about everything else. Talk about the census. You talk about everything else. Go run tell that. Go run tell it about the census. Talk about the impact of the community on the education, voting, our boundary lines, our congressional lines, all of those things that Commissioner Washington just talked about. And I really appreciate she's going to put a couple signs in her yard. Get a sign from Ms. Cintron and find out how you can get a sign. But talk about the census, but don't just talk about. For those of you all who've not had an opportunity to go ahead and do that, less than 3 minutes, I think, that it takes you to go ahead and complete the census online. And for those of you all that know that you have senior citizens in your lives that may not be all that tech savvy, run over to your auntie's house or your grandmother's house and see, can you assist them with getting that census done on their behalf, and explain to them the importance, because we won't have this chance. As she stated, it'll be another 10 years before we have this opportunity. But the impact of this community, and I have to say that, and Commissioner Washington, I'm kind of repeating a lot of what you said, but the truth of the matter is, if ever was a time for us to really understand the benefit in completing this census, it is right now as we are navigating through this crazy pandemic. And I'm calling it crazy because it's crazy, because when we thought this thing was going to kind of mellow out, Chief Morgan, it has picked up. The uptick, the spike in the numbers are soaring through the roof, and it's serious. I'm so glad to see many of the people in this audience have on their face masks this morning, and they're social distancing in this audience. And for those that are coming in, I know we got the social distance police out there in the hallway to make sure that people only sit in those designated areas. I was talking about the census.
Yes, sir.
I need people to, I ended up getting into the talking about the mask, Ms. Malone, but the census is what I was talking about at that
Right.
particular time. If you haven't completed the census, please, it's very important to the success of our community. Go online and complete the census and encourage someone else to do. We've got to move forward. That concludes our recognitions and special presentations this morning. Again, thank you, Ms. Cintron, you and the Complete Count Committee for all of the work that you're doing. All of our local pastors and members of that group, we certainly do appreciate you all talking about it. Keep talking about the census and keep helping people get it filled out and completed. All right, we are now moving on with our agenda. And commissioners, what is your pleasure on the approval of the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as published.
I second that motion.
It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approval of the minutes of July 28, 2020.
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, and there is no unfinished business at this time. Director Rutledge, we're moving right on to the regular agenda. We'll start with item 2020-337.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a contract with PayScale Incorporated through the Talent Management Department. This is for compensation and classification software. This is change order number 1 to contract 2019-93. This is the addition of ADP API system integration to allow software to communicate with ADP. There's no cost for the product, and this is the annual subscription.
Move to approve the contract as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item
Yes.
338, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a contract with NAFCare Incorporated through the Sheriff's Office. This is for the inmate healthcare services. This is RFP number 20-04 in the amount of $2,613,495.96 per year. This is for 1 year starting September the 15th, 2020, with 4 additional 1-year renewal periods.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
I'll second that motion.
It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right.
Okay, item 339 is with Gov Deals Incorporated. This is with the Finance Department. This is Financial Settlement Services. This is an addendum. This is change order number 1 to contract 2008-178. This is for online government surplus auction services, and this is for the collections of the proceeds.
I move to approve the contract.
I second that motion.
It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
This is item 340. This is with James L. Morton, PC, doing business as ARP Counseling. This is for the Juvenile Accountability Court. This is for group and individual counseling for substance abuse treatment. It's in an amount not to exceed $50,000. It's a 1 year with option to renew 3 additional 12-month periods.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item 341 is with GS Construction Incorporated. This is for the Water Resources Department. It's for an 8-inch water line extension for the Conyers Outlots Tracks 1 and 2. This is for the contract 20-09. It's in the amount of $126,021.50. It'll be 120 days from the notice to proceed.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
I second that
It's
motion.
been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 342 is with Pratt Paper LLC. This is for the Water Resources Department. This is for the operations of the upflow anaerobic sludge blanket, also known as the UASB. The estimated revenue is $551,298.12 per year, and it's on a perpetual basis.
I move to approve this contract as presented.
And I second it because we always like revenue.
True.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Item 343 is with Intercom Group. This is through the Recreation and Maintenance Department, specifically for the Animal Control Division. This is to begin the Animal Control Strategic Plan in the amount of $13,250. This will begin in August and conclude in October of 2020.
I move to approve the contract.
I second that motion, but can I?
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I would like to say that we've had a lot of discussion about where our animal control department is going. We've had a lot of citizen input. Hopefully, we can continue that with this strategic plan and have the people that are very, very interested in our animal control project come out and help develop this strategic plan. I think this is another way in which the Board of Commission is listening to the constituents and doing something that the constituents want to see done. And I'm very excited about the strategic plan.
You're absolutely right, Commissioner Washington. That was another one of those projects that was not hindered due to COVID-19. The citizens pre-COVID came out. We had a very positive turnout meeting early on, just before COVID-19 took place. And we had a lot of citizens to come out, a very robust discussion, very positive. And yes, we listened. We have our animal control department and division actively moving to do some things in a more progressive way to take Rockdale's animal control in a new direction. I'm excited about this, and I'm going to close out this vote at this time. It has been properly motioned and second. We've heard the concerns. Are you prepared to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 344, please.
This is a requisition with the Recreation and Maintenance Department. This is for unlimited landscaping, grounds maintenance for the county parks in the amount of $16,536.
I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 345, please.
This is a requisition for the Transportation Department. This is for Yellowstone Landscape. This is for the mowing for county zones in the amount of $46,680.
I move to approve this requisition as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions?
Once again, you know, I'm very excited to see this. This is one of the things that this is one of my, I think, initiatives, but yes, we're ready.
So Commissioner Washington is being modest because she's done a lot of work in the area of aesthetics and cleanliness for this community. In fact, it was Commissioner Washington who helped implement the community improvement team. During COVID-19, we've had a tremendous amount of rain. We had to furlough our people in order to keep our staff safe, so we did a remote work plan. Well, during the remote work plan and while the rain was coming down, guess what was happening? The grass was growing up. So we did not have enough staff to be able to tackle the issue of keeping the county looking aesthetically clean. So we had to contract out and engage our contractors to help us in order to keep the county roadways looking better and clean during this time period. So if we've not made our way to your neighborhood or your community, please stand by. We're on the way. We've got crews out all across the county, and we're navigating even as it continues to rain. And y'all know we've been through what my grandmother used to call the dog days of summer.
Yes.
So
My gosh.
with all the rain and all of that going on and not having people out on mowers, we had to bring in some contractors, and they're really helping us out. This was a major initiative that Commissioner Washington put forth. So I know we're glad to close out this vote. It's been properly motioned and second. Concerns have been expressed. Are you prepared to vote? And if so, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion carries. Item number 346, please.
Yes, this is item for surplus. This is for the Water Resources Department.
I move to declare these items as surplus as presented.
I'll second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Commissioner Williams, your volume is just a tad bit low. I know you know how much a tad bit is, what amount that is. It's a tad bit low. If you can just, so it's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
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 Okay.
All right. Motion
not
carries.
sure
Item 347, please.
I'm sorry, were you saying something, Commissioner Williams?
Well, I'm not sure how to get louder. I'm on my.
You're sounding good there, Commissioner.
Yeah, I think
You almost
so.
sound like you're sitting right here with us.
Okay,
You're on the right track now.
Okay.
Okay, great. All right, so item 347, this is the resolution to adopt the Sigmund Road Gateway Study. As you know, we have gone through the public hearing process on this, and this is another item on Commissioner Washington's goals and list that she's had. And we have now have the recommendations available, and the resolution is before you this morning for adoption.
All right, Commissioner Washington.
So
To approve this resolution and to adopt these recommendations as presented.
and I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions?
Well, I don't have a question, but I cannot wait for the community to see the Sigmund Road improvement recommendations. I think that it's going to blow you all's minds. I think that what we're trying to do with Sigmund Road is very much become, it will be the gateway into our community. It will show the world that we love our community, that we are concerned about the way our community looks, feels. Hopefully it will attract the types of businesses that we want in the community. I'm so excited. When I saw it, it was everything that I envisioned. Now we got to pay for it.
It has to be paid for, absolutely. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. It's been properly motioned and second. We've heard concerns. Are you prepared to vote? And if so, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay.
Okay. All right, motion carries. All right, item 348, please.
Item 348 is an ordinance to amend the Code of Rockdale County, Georgia to amend Chapter 66, Offenses and Miscellaneous Provisions, to enact an ordinance addressing the wearing of a face covering or mask while in public places and for other purposes. This is before you this morning for a first reading. As you know, during the last Board of Commissioners meeting, you enacted a resolution to suggest the wearing of a mask. This is now an ordinance before you for first reading.
I move to approve the first reading, waive the second reading, and to adopt this ordinance as presented.
I second that motion. I think it's important, though, to talk about why this is important.
Yes, ma'am. As soon as we close this motion out, I'm going to yield to you to talk about it. And we got a little bit more talking about COVID-19 and why people are going to appreciate what we're doing. Let's close out this motion. It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. A unanimous vote on item number 348. I'm going to yield to Commissioner Williams at this time.
You know, over the course of this pandemic with COVID, the medical professionals, the epidemiologists, those in that deal with viruses have learned a whole lot as they've gone along. And one of the things that is almost universally known now is that wearing a mask can prevent the spread. At first, they were saying that it didn't protect you by wearing a mask, but it protected the other people. But now they're saying that's not true. That not only does it protect the other people, it also protects you. And so I was watching a thing last night on TV about the different kinds of masks and what are the most effective. And for the average citizen, a 2-layer cotton mask is okay. It's better if it has a 3rd layer or more inside of it. When I have made the masks for my family, I stick a lining inside interior of the front and the back parts of the mask, and they say that those are pretty effective if they cover your mouth, cover your nose, and you wear them. Many of our businesses and retail operations are requiring you to wear a mask when you enter their facilities. And I think we put a lot of thought and work into this ordinance that should keep Rockdale County safer and begin to lower our numbers of COVID. Those numbers have gone up astronomically in the last few weeks. We're over 1,200 cases now. Every few days, someone else is passing away from this. And we've heard about the 7-year-old who had no underlying conditions who died from COVID. We've heard about elderly people who have survived it, but you just don't know how your body or the bodies of your friends and family will react to this virus. There's still a lot they just don't know. And for us to have schools start to open again and students to actually be coming back into, which we know is the best way for students to learn, but we have to keep them safe as well as those that they interact with. The best way for us to not just flatten the curve, but make that line go way down is for us to wear masks, social distance, and wash your hands for 20 seconds.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. We certainly do appreciate your input on that. Commissioner Washington, anything you'd like to add regarding this, the mask ordinance this morning?
Of course. I'm extremely grateful for this board for coming together and putting together something that we believe that will keep this community safe. Thank you, Commissioner Williams, Chair, for all of us being on the same page with this, understanding that our community's health, safety, and welfare comes first before any ideological principles or anything. We did this because this is all we have. This is the only thing that we have that we can do to keep you all safe, to keep your children safe, your grandchildren safe, your entire family safe. We did this because when we mandate that you wear a mask in public places, we're not trying to infringe on you, but we're trying to protect the workers that are there, the other people that are coming there and being in your environment, and we're asking you to respect their health and whatever conditions that they're coming into a store with or any other business or public place with. I'm extremely proud of this legislation, and I'm so glad that we are in a place, all three of us, that we're thinking about the best interest of our constituents and our community and the health, safety, and welfare of Rockdale County.
Absolutely. So thank you to Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Washington. And absolutely, we've heard from so many of our citizens in the community, and we finally begin to hear from a good number of citizens who are, some are survivors. They've kind of weathered the storm of COVID-19. And we've also heard from folks who've lost loved ones, who've seen firsthand the impact of this coronavirus and COVID-19, and they've reached out to urge and encourage us to pass this ordinance. But it really doesn't stop. It doesn't stop here with the Board of Commissioners. And just because we pass an ordinance to mandate that the citizens of Rockdale County wear a face mask, it's really something that you've got to really take serious and do within your own household, and encourage those people that are in and around your circles of influence to do the very same thing. It is very important. We are in a season of uncertainty, and this thing is going from one extreme to the next. We will have our Emergency Management Director, Chief Dan Morgan, to come up. I thought, Director Rutledge, this would be more than a perfect time to insert our Emergency Management Director to give us a brief update on where things are right here in Rockdale County.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for this ordinance. Currently, as of yesterday afternoon, Rockdale County has right at 1,350 cases since March. We are averaging about 23 per day new cases. And that has been fairly consistent. And remember, when we have an average, that means we have days that I'm approaching 30 to 32 new cases per day. We've had 18 deaths so far in Rockdale County since March. The positivity rate is starting to show signs of stabilizing or maybe coming down a little bit, which is a good thing, but we're still getting, still spread in the community. Rockdale, Gwinnett, and Newton are considered by the health department to be an area of active spread of this disease, which means we still have a way to go. For testing, people who are interested in getting tested for COVID, we now have a permanent site set up at Springfield Baptist Church on Iris Drive. It is still by appointment only. They can do about 300 plus tests per day. It is filling up every day. To make an appointment, you go to www.gnrhealth.com, follow the prompts, and you can actually sign up online for the date and the location and the time you wish to be tested. And then you show up and they have the forms already pre-printed, you test and you get the results. Now they're back down to the results in about 3 days. The GNR runs 3 different sites, 2 in Gwinnett, 1 in Rockdale. If you're hearing this and you're gonna be in Gwinnett, or if that's more convenient, on that same website, you can sign up for any one of those 3 testing sites. And I leave you with this: the masks are just 1/3 of the triangle, is social distancing, washing your hands, or using hand sanitizer. I appreciate the opportunity, Chairman.
Chief Morgan, thank you so much. And folks, I want to share with you that Chief Dan Morgan is not only the Executive Fire Chief for the Rockdale County Fire and Rescue, he's also the Director of our Emergency Management Agency here in Rockdale County. And Chief has really put more effort in the area of emergency management since the start of the coronavirus back in March. Chief Morgan and the Emergency Management Department has been working honestly around the clock to keep us abreast. And keep in mind that as our firefighters, our first responders, the Sheriff's Office, as they continue to have to do their jobs, they're going into homes and places where people have this virus. So keep them in mind and keep them in prayer as well, because as they continue to deliver services on behalf and to respond to the many needs here throughout Rockdale County, our goal is to do everything that we can to keep those first responders and all of our employees safe at the same time. Thank you for allowing me to interject that portion. I think it was most fitting. And I am so proud of this board that we were able to move forward with this particular ordinance. Item number 349, please.
Yes, this is an ordinance to amend Title II of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County, Georgia, so as to amend Section 218 as it relates to the regulation of the placement of small wireless facilities in the public rights-of-way and revise the definition section of the Code of Rockdale County, Georgia, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is before you this morning for a second reading and has concluded the public hearing process.
Approve the second reading and to adopt the ordinance as presented.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 350.
This is an ordinance to amend Title II of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County, Georgia as amended so as to change certain uses in Section 218.13 regarding K-12 and private schools, to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes, including proposals to amend related code provisions not contained within the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County, Georgia. This is also before you for a second read and has concluded the public hearing process.
I move to approve the second reading and to adopt this ordinance as presented.
I'll second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 351, please.
This is a special use permit case 2020-01, an ordinance to amend the official zoning district map of Rockdale County, Georgia as amended to authorize a special use permit for a recycling center located at 213, 214, and 215 Camden Industrial Parkway Northwest, Conyers, Georgia 30012, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is before you this morning for a second reading. I believe the intent of the board this morning is to defer this special use permit to allow more time to investigate the use.
So I move to defer the second reading of the ordinance until the next Board of Commissioners meeting.
I second that motion.
It has been properly motioned and second that we will defer this until the next board meeting. Are there any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. We will defer this particular item until the next board meeting. Item 352, please.
Mr. Chairman, item 352 and item 353, I will read in concert. I'll make sure they'll read together. This is the same piece of ordinance. One is for a future land use amendment. The other was for a rezoning. So the first one is an ordinance to amend the Rockdale County Comprehensive Plan and future land use map as amended so as to redesignate property located at 2385 and 0 Gees Mill Road Northeast and 0 Glen Road Northeast, Conyers, Georgia 30013, from the light industrial medium density residential future land use category to the high density residential future land use category, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is presented for a second reading. The second ordinance is an ordinance to amend the zoning district map of Rockdale County, Georgia as amended by rezoning property located at 2385 and 0 Gees Mill Road and 0 Glen Road Northeast, Conyers, Georgia 30013, from the R1 Single Family Residential Zoning District to the RM Multifamily Zoning District, to impose conditions upon the amendment, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is also presented for a second reading. I believe it is the intent of the board to defer both of these ordinances until the next Board of Commissioners meeting.
Okay, thank you, Director Rutledge. Commissioners, what is your pleasure?
Are we moving for both?
You
of
can
them
move
together?
for both of these items collectively if you wish.
Okay, I move to defer the second reading of ordinance 2020-352 and 353 to the next Board of Commissioners meeting.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second that items 352 and 353 will be deferred to the next Board of Commissioners meeting. Are there any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
I had a comment. I had a comment.
I'm sorry. We'll yield to you, Commissioner. Go right ahead.
Just that one of the reasons we are deferring this is so that we can do a traffic study, so that we can gather that data and make a more informed decision.
Will we be able to have the traffic study completed by the next Board of Commissioners?
No, we will not be able to have the traffic study completed by the next board meeting, but we are currently in conversations with our Department of Transportation and follow up with the applicant to make that at least a condition. It takes a while to conduct a traffic study. It won't be completed within 2 weeks. We could have recommendations, but not a study.
And I think, Commissioners, this is really good progress on behalf of this board. The fact that we are pumping the brakes, doing the traffic study, allowing for time to take place. In fact, a good number of the residents from the Gees Mill and the Millstone Manor area are here this morning to voice their concerns and express their perspectives, and we're going to give them that opportunity in just a second. However, I do say that this is good that the board would yield and allow for the study to take place and for us to get back the results of the study for the concerns of this project before we render a decision. So I'm really glad that we're moving in the direction of doing the traffic study. And I do know that it's not an overnight type thing. It's a pretty in-depth study to bring back the information that we all will need in order to make a real decision.
And we'll make sure that we follow up with the information once it's received.
Yes. Okay, so we do have a motion on the floor, I believe. It has been properly motioned and second. We've heard concerns from the commissioners. Are all in favor say aye with deferring of this vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. So that takes care of 352 and 353. Director Rutledge, I believe that we're now
Down to public comment.
We're down to public comment. We want to keep this ball rolling, folks. I want to call you up for public comment right after Director Rutledge reads the disclaimer.
As a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments relative to any issues that are currently going through the public hearing process, matters that are in active litigation, political campaigning, or partisan politics will not be heard in this meeting. Speakers are to address the chairman, not each other or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers and/or members of the audience shall be permitted.
Thank you, Director Rutledge. First up, we'd like to call Felix Floyd. Mr. Floyd, if you would, come on up, sir. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
I live at 2513 Paddington Way, Point Royal subdivision. Just a little bit of background. I'm from South Georgia. Moved to the metro area in 1997 after I got married. And one of the reasons I moved to Rockdale County because it was slow to remind me of home. I decided to make my home here. Bought a house in 1998. Found another house in 2008, which was Point Royal. Still slow, nice yards, nice neighbors. And we loved it. It was a very big investment for us, for me and my family. We still sacrifice because we love the area, we love the neighborhood, but to allow a project like this would, those dreams would just go away. This would not be the same Rockdale County that we moved here for. We moved from DeKalb County, but if we wanted to develop like that close, we would have stayed in DeKalb County. Rockdale wasn't like that, and that's the dream that we had for our life, for our family, and our home. I've seen projects like this before where, you know, high density area, townhouse, normally if somebody's first house, it's nice in the beginning, then you do a little bit better and you buy a better, bigger house somewhere else, but you can't sell the house, so you rent it to somebody else. And then after you rent it out, you don't have that same care for it. So the neighborhood goes down. If you want to see examples of it, just drive down Covenant Highway in DeKalb County between Panola Road and Evans Mill Road. You'll see many examples of it. But we don't want that in our neighborhood. We care about our neighborhood. We care about the traffic. We care about the devaluation of our houses, which we really don't want. But I think you got it right the first time by making it medium density light industrial. So please consider that.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Thank you for all that you do on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. Next up is Ms. Priscilla Farmer. Come on up, Ms. Priscilla.
They already voted. Mm-hmm.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I moved here from Boston, and the house that I'm in now, I looked at it 5 times before I made my mind up to buy it. It was quiet in the morning, afternoon, and evening. I'm not a good speaker, but I really don't want these townhouses in the community. I want it to stay the way it is. It's quiet. They put 155 houses over here in the townhouses. You know, you can estimate how many how many more vehicles gonna be in that area. I rounded out between 300 to 400 vehicles. Can we accommodate that many vehicles? Because each household at least have 2 cars. And if they have a son or a daughter living with them and they have a car, that's another car. There are gonna be accidents. There'll be gonna be crime in the area because we just don't know who's gonna be moving in the townhouses. You know, I mean, we can have crime in the area without the townhouses, but the area I feel like I'm living in now is safe. And I don't really have any problems, safer than it can be. You know, I don't know what else really to say. Most of the homeowners already said what they have to say. You know, that's it. We're gonna decrease our value of our homes. That's it. I don't really else else, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Priscilla, and thank you for all that you do on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. Certainly appreciate you coming out. Ms. Sherry Barnell. Come on out, come on up, Ms. Sherry.
So, Mr. Chairman, I apologize to interrupt. We really should not be taking comments that are relative to these developments that are going through the public hearing process. I realize that some people are here today and they have been told they can speak. What we would like to do is have myself and Deputy Director Teresa Jacobs get with you after the meeting to make sure that these are made part of the record. I know that's a bit of an expansive process, but when there's an item going through the public hearing process, there are legal ramifications for speaking about them outside of it because we haven't properly advertised for these to be taking public comments today. But I want to make sure that they're captured since they did defer the action this morning and make sure that we place it into the zoning record. This morning, we have out in the audience with us, we have the Deputy Director of Planning and Development and also our zoning administrator that would be more than happy to capture any of these comments that any of these people would like to make. If you could stand up, Deputy Director Jacobs and Terrace, these two right here would be more than happy to help out with, if you're either here for the special use permit of Camden or for the the one rezoning and the future land use for G's Mill.
Well, thank you, Director Rutledge, for pointing that point of clarity out. Hang on one second, Ms. Sherry. I just want to say thank you to the director because it is so important that we practice what we preach and follow the rules. So to all of those that have come out this morning, we're going to end the comment concerning this particular project at this time. Do know that this board is fully awake. We're paying attention and we appreciate your presence, but in respect for the procedure, okay? In respect for the procedure, we'll ask that you would yield to speak with our Deputy Director of Planning and Development and the zoning administrator if you need additional information. We'll also encourage you to pay attention to the Rockdale County website and all of our social media outlets as we will be giving additional information as to how these proceedings will move forward. We have to make sure, for the benefit of all parties involved, that we don't violate our own policies and procedures. So, Ms. Sherry, I'm just going to say thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for all of you all who came out. And if you would, I would ask that you would yield at this point, and we won't entertain any comment concerning this project moving forward. But so much, thank you so much.
Is there one question I can't ask you? The things that we are bringing up, then they will be presented to you?
They will, and I can ask that I will encourage you to talk with my Deputy Director of Planning and Development, and she will be able to give you more detail in terms of the response to your question. Thank you, Ms. Sherry. Thank you so much. And again, we do appreciate you all coming out. I think there were, Mr. Bannister was also one of those speakers who took the time out of his schedule this morning to come out. And according to his comment card, he was concerned about the same issue. Director Rutledge, I really appreciate you and council bringing that point of clarity. That is part of the role of our county clerk and our county attorney to make sure that the board is moving in the most equitable and fair process as we go through these processes. So having staff here this morning allows staff to be able to entertain your questions and concerns to a degree without us doing it in a public format at this time. But believe you me, the Board of Commissioners are present. We are paying attention and we know that you're here. So you did not waste your time this morning. Your presence is not in vain, and we will take up this matter at the most appropriate time according to the procedures. Director Rutledge, I believe that those complete the public comment, and so far we are moving at a record pace here.
We're not done.
He
still has to give his board comment.
He's gonna blow your mind.
Anybody, right?
Right, that's gonna take 30 minutes.
He's gonna blow your mind this morning. In fact, we're gonna move right on into board comments.
Sure.
And I'm gonna start with none other than the Honorable Commissioner Sherry Washington.
Well, before I really get started, while you all are leaving, could you all make sure you get as much census information as you can and pass it out to your neighbors? Sign up for a sign. We really, really need to get counted. So as you're leaving, please get your census information. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
while
you.
I was talking, I had 2 of my neighbors ask me to bring them a sign, Ms. Centron. So now I
Okay.
need 4 signs.
So you have people make the signs.
Right. I have a truck full of signs. At least they understand the importance
Absolutely.
of it now. Another thing is today is election day. We have 2 very important races in Rockdale County on the ballot. That is our clerk of courts race. For those of us who are in the legal profession, we know how very important that office is to how we navigate in the legal profession. So please get out and vote. And then you have your school board race. If ever there's a time that you see the importance of the school board when they're making decisions about the safety of your children, millage rates concerning with all of the COVID and that environment, all of that is on the table today because we do have a board of school board seat up on the ballot. So make sure that you go to the your precinct today. That we're outside of early voting, so you go to your precinct and cast your ballot today. I'd like to say congratulations to Dr. Terrell Gibbs for getting married. That snuck up on me. It was all on Facebook, and nobody knew about it. But congratulations, and I hope you have 100 years of happiness with that. Census, got the census elections, Dr. Gibbs. Most importantly, get tested. We have a site here in Rockdale County.
You still talking to Dr. Gibbs? You talk to everybody now.
Oh, I'm sorry, everybody.
Oh.
Like, Dr. Gibbs, you gotta get tested now.
I didn't hear the transition.
Right,
I didn't
I'm
hear
so
the
sorry.
transition, but go ahead.
But yeah, he's got to get tested. But we now get tested. We have the capabilities here in Rockdale County. They are saying that the dates are now 3 days to get your results back. So there's no excuse. Do it for your loved ones. Do it for yourself. But do get tested because so many people are asymptomatic. And we want to, you need to quarantine. A friend of mine that did test positive for COVID said the most taxing thing on her spirit while she was going through it was she was hoping that she did not give it to somebody who passed away from it. And you don't know, get tested, wear your masks. Those are all of my comments.
All right, that was record time. Commissioner Williams?
I'll make up for Commissioner Washington's lack of comments or short comments.
I knew it was going to be one of you all.
So, as far as the election today, I wanted to point out that there are 5 polling locations that have been closed because of COVID, and those 5 polling precinct locations are voting at 1400 Parker Road. Those those precincts are Fieldstone, Flat Shoals, Hightower, Millstead, and Stanton. So you will not, those 5 precincts, you will go to Parker Road to vote today. About the census, I think Commissioner Washington gave us a really, really thorough, in-depth overview of why it's so important to do the census. I wanted to just add one more thought to that of why it's important. For anyone who does their family history, you have probably gotten on to census from to track ancestors and their movements and where they've gone. We have to trust that, you know, 100 years from now, maybe our descendants will want to know where we lived and what we did. And so having our data on the census counts for that too. So it's beneficial in terms of researching your family history. The mask ordinance. I wanted to mention one more thing about the mask ordinance, and that is, while we have mandated ordinance that masks be worn in public places in Rockdale County, we are aware of the conflict that has happened in the city of Atlanta with their mask ordinance. I want the citizens to know that we have drafted our ordinance so that it is in line with the governor's executive order. So if you are unsure about it, get a copy of the ordinance itself, and maybe we can have that on our website so that people can click on it and read it and understand that we are not balking against what the governor has told us, but that we are working in line with that, but that we are mandating masks within public places in Rockdale County. Then I wanted to talk about the NAFCARE contract for the jail as their medical provider. A lot of work has gone into that contract. Captain Pass spent a lot of time researching, talking to people in other counties that use NAFCARE for their jail medical provider. The sheriff and I talked about it. I spoke with a person in Fulton County about how they have navigated that. I spoke with a person from the Carl Vincent Institute, and in doing all of this research, we decided as the Stepping Up initiative that there were some things that we wanted to make sure were included in that contract. The contract with the previous medical provider was difficult because they could not provide us with the data that we needed to for baseline data. And if we don't have baseline data on mental health and substance use issues, we don't know what kind of progress we've made. We don't know how effective the programs are being. And so we actually, yesterday afternoon, added several things to the contract that NAFCARE agreed to do. And that was provide us with the baseline data and for their staff to participate in our Stepping Up initiative meetings so that we are coordinating, because so much of what we are trying to accomplish by keeping people with mental health and substance use issues out of jail, shorter times if they are booked into jail, requires us to have some data from the medical providers. So I wanted to thank Captain Pass for his work on that. Yesterday when I said, wait, let's stop, I want these, we need these things added to the contract, he immediately got on it, talked with the sheriff, called the representative from NAFCARE, got answered all of his questions and then got the agreements from them to include them. So as we are moving forward, I'm very excited that we will continue to escalate the work that we are doing for some of our most vulnerable populations. And this new contract will provide us the opportunity to not only serve our people better, but that data is really important when we are talking about being competitive in terms of funding for grants and other opportunities. And so this should really make a big difference. And I'm very excited about this change in providers that we should be able to continue our work with our Stepping Up initiative. We do have a Stepping Up Initiative Steering Committee meeting this week. We have 2 guest speakers coming to talk about a program that was very successful in Savannah and a possible grant opportunity, a program that has been piloted. Well, actually the study was done in DeKalb County and in Savannah and in Brunswick. And they're looking to do phase 2 of that study, and they would like to do it in Rockdale and 1 or 2 other counties, which would provide funding for us as well as an opportunity to take what has been successful in the first phase and move it into the second phase, which would be fabulous for us. And so we will hear from those experts at our steering committee meeting on Thursday. I'm just very excited about what's happening in the county. It's a very different time with the pandemic, and that has been difficult, but in some ways it has made it more accessible for us to access people from out of state, out of you know, experts in other areas that can zoom in on these meetings and share their expertise with us. I don't know why we didn't think of doing all of this before, but I think it's a way that we can save money and still access the professional and expertise that's available out there in other places. Those are my comments.
Wow. Thank you, Commissioner. Real quick, I'm going to ask Chief Dan Morgan. Chief, if you would come right back up real quick. Chief Morgan had just a couple other things he wanted to add. He was thinking about that he didn't give when he was standing up about some of the basic things that we're doing in and around the county to help make sure that people are safe. Chief, I know you had a couple of extra thoughts, and I'm just going to give you an opportunity to add those right quick as we begin to prepare to close out.
Yes, sir. Just let everybody know that the 911 system and fire and police are operating as normally. Actually, we're a little more than normal right now, and that we have extra EMS units up to respond to medical calls to help preserve the social distancing within the fire station and to have more PPE readily available for the first responders, and to ask that places like churches and civic groups, if you find you do decide to meet, please reach out to me if you have any questions on social distancing and if you really need to have that meeting.
Chief Morgan, thank you so much. I appreciate the additional information. I'm going to ask Director John Moretto to come up real quickly, if he would, and give us a brief update. You heard on the contract about the additional manpower and the contract between Yellowstone and the keeping our roads and community, Commissioner Washington, aesthetically pleasing to the eye and clean. A lot of work that our community improvement team, along with code enforcement, is doing throughout the county. Director Moretto is in charge of our Rockdale Department of Transportation. He has also been working around the clock. Just give us a brief update in terms of what's going on in your department, Director.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. As far as our mowing crews go, we just finished our southern cycle. last week. So all of our southern area, which includes approximately 100 miles of roadway, has been mowed, and also we've had our litter teams throughout that region. The motion that was voted on today will allow us to go through an entire mowing cycle on the north cycle, which is approximately another 150 miles of roadway. With that right there, we have 5 temporary employees that are helping with the litter pickup with our community improvement teams. So we're in really good shape as far as that. The contract will also add some trimming as well. I'd also like to, if I could, mention that we are working on an initiative regarding litter.
Okay.
Okay. Tomorrow we're having a phone call for several selected citizens that are very vocal about litter in the county and how we could address it. Our team does a great job. They work 8 hours a day, every day, picking up litter. The challenges that we have, though, is the better of a job that they do, the more we have a litter issue. There's 3 legs to this concern. One of them is community involvement. We need additional community involvement, and this is the first step to that. I've discussed this with Director Diaz and with several others. We have a plan to go forward to help to see if we can get more community involvement. Part of that is tomorrow is talking to these concerned citizens about how we can get each of the communities involved, including pastors, ministers, going to different HOAs. And so we have a very ambitious plan, and we hope to have that enacted and started within by tomorrow.
Thank you, Director Barreto. Commissioner Washington wanted to add. You wanted to add something concerning that initiative? I know you got a little bit excited when he talked about the civic engagement part of it.
Well, I'm always an advocate for civic engagement, and anything that we can do to keep this community aesthetically pleasing, I'm very excited about. I'm looking forward to learning more about the initiative and rolling it out so that we can have a clean and beautiful Rockdale County.
So we have approximately around 15 or 16 concerned citizens that are very vocal. They're very, very passionate about litter in the county. And so we decided to reach out to those individuals and to see what type of ideas that we could get from them and to engage them and to say, hey, what can we do better? What can we do differently to try to get ahead of this problem? When our crews go out and pick up litter, we've really just hit the tail end of the problem.
Right.
The first part of the problem is just having the litter there to begin with, because it not only compounds the litter, it goes back to what the chairman had mentioned earlier, as far as the mowing crews. Our mowing crews have a complicated problem. So they either can get down off their machines every 2 seconds to pick up a box, or that one box becomes 5,000 pieces of litter.
Right.
So it's a challenge both ways, and the only way to handle this is first to get the community involved as much as possible.
Thank you, Director Barreto. Community and civic engagement is so important to this Board of Commissioners, and when you can educate the citizenry about what needs to happen. Let me just make one mention as he's talking about litter in our community. We have several different apartment complexes throughout Rockdale County, and I don't think people are doing it out of malice. I really don't. But oftentimes what happens, folks put their trash bags on the hood of their cars with all intent of stopping by the dumpster on the way out. But their mind, once they get in the vehicle, gets right back in go to work mode, and they simply forget. The bag falls and flies off of the hood of the car into the traffic, and there you go, a spread of traffic all the way down the road. So I don't think people are doing that intentionally. I think they're forgetting. They have intent on, let me stop by the dumpster and put this bag in the dumpster. But what happens once they get in the car, they get right back in, I'm on my way to work mode, and they forget that they put the bag on top. Bag falls off, trash up and down the road. Please, ma'am, please, sir, for those of you all are hearing this, I'm asking that you be a little bit more mindful. And I'm going to highlight Sigmund Road. I'm going to talk about Sigmund Road because that is an area that almost every other day there's a bag of trash that has flown off of somebody's hood and is on the road. And there you go, community improvement have to be dispatched out there to pick it up. Dr. Kimbrough, brief update on stormwater, brief on stormwater, brief stormwater management, Rockdale County. Dr. Kimbrough,
Excuse me, sir, can you
brief.
say it one more time? We will be very, very brief. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, commissioners and members of the dais. On stormwater management, we're very happy to report that we're doing better with our response time. We knew where our hot spots were last evening when it started to storm. We dispatched, and well, rather we kept a couple of folks around. They checked, and this morning we were out checking the gutters and other areas, and our customers are doing a better job. We do see a lot of trash, but they're doing a better job. And we also checked on properties that we know are in distress. And we're doing all of those kinds of things because we still have 40 years of neglect of our infrastructure, our critical infrastructure that we have to make up. And with that said, we know that you as commissioners, you as the chairman, and members of our colleagues and others know that on any given day, on a rainy day, on a sunny day, our pipes can disrupt, and we saw a water spurt this morning out of a pipe. So we are very happy to partner with roads, with the transportation department. Ms. Alice has helped us. We are a finalist, I guess we could say that, for a grant that we applied for. We're very happy about that. So I'll be brief and be gone. Thank you.
Dr. Kimbrough, thank you for your brevity, but let me ask you to talk about the vac truck. The Stormwater Division, Management Division does have a vac truck that I've asked you all to activate a little bit more often. Now, this truck makes a lot of noise,
It does.
but it's going to be out there cleaning out those. Tell us about some of what you're doing with that piece
Yes,
of
sir.
equipment.
Yes, sir. We're going to activate the vac truck tomorrow on Honeysuckle Lane. So wake up early, or if not, you're going to see it there, because this morning, and part of the debris that we noticed from the storm, it is there. The vac truck does three things very well. It cleans, it will sweep and clean the streets. It also will check all of the sewers and all of those lines that are nearby, so that it will lift the cover of some of our infrastructure properties, and it will stick the hose in, and it will clean it out to make sure that we don't have any sediment and those kinds of things in it. So it's a large monstrosity piece of equipment that we're happy to have, but importantly, it helps us also maintain our state standards that are asked of us.
Thank you, Dr. Kimbrough. Dr. Kimbrough is the director of our Stormwater Management Department, and we certainly do appreciate the work you and your team are doing, and you all have stepped up to plate. We appreciate that. Is a big piece of equipment, and it's a very expensive piece of equipment, too expensive to be parked. We need it out in the community doing the work that we've called for it to do. So thank you. We look forward to seeing the vac truck moving throughout Rockdale County. In my closing remarks this morning, I do want to say hats off to the Rockdale County Public School System and the Rockdale PTA, Dr. Terry Oates, and all of the members of the school board. They hosted this past Sunday a PTA prayer vigil. The president of the Rockdale County PTA, Ms. Melissa Mims, did a fantastic job. We did a Zoom prayer visual for all of the students in Rockdale County. One of the things they wanted me to point out was that although our young people will be a part of virtual learning and virtual education, please don't take for granted just because a young person is at home that he or she is in a safe environment. We need you to pray for all of our young people and make sure that they're Zooming in a safe environment at home as they try to move forward with this phase of their education. The curriculum will still be moving forward for those young people that will have the necessary tools to be able to engage with their instructors and their teachers by way of Zoom and virtual learning. Keep our young people in your prayers as they kick off a very different and unusual school year here in Rockdale County. But I really wanted to give hats off to the PTA, Ms. Melissa Mims, Dr. Terry Oates, and all of the members of the Rockdale County Public School System for a wonderful kickoff and prayer visual on yesterday. Also, you heard me make mention of the fact that we are very much in this pandemic. We've talked so much about the fact that this board has moved forward with passing the mandatory mask ordinance here in Rockdale County in an effort to keep our citizens safe in this community. I'm not going to debate whether you agree with it or not. I'm not going to debate on keeping you safe. So we're asking that you wear your mask and you practice social distancing and all of those things. The numbers are speaking for themselves. The numbers are going up. The death count is going up. And we are concerned about our citizens in Rockdale County. Our number one goal is to keep the citizens in this community safe in Rockdale County. The census, please, for those who are here in this live audience, don't leave the building, as Commissioner Washington has stated, without picking up the paraphernalia and material, the brochures about this upcoming census. For those of you all who have already participated in the census, please check with our senior population. Please check with our young population as well to make sure that every person is accounted for as we move forward, because the census brings us so many benefactors to our community in terms of dollars and how we have an opportunity to be represented in the United States Congress. A season of uncertainty. We need everybody, all hands on deck, to move toward participating in this census. I want to close out Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Washington with highlighting one of Rockdale County's finest residents. Tomorrow, Mr. James F. Davis will be celebrating his 100th birthday. He was born, that's right, you can give him a round of applause. He was born on August 12th of 1920, and we had a fantastic time with his family and very select friends on this past weekend as PR is bringing up the video to highlight and celebrate. And I'll tell you, Mr. County Attorney, Mr. Davis, he moves fast, he gets up, he has all of his faculties. He is a sport, yes he is. And when we get him on the screen, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. Mr. James, there he is, Mr. James F. Davis. Yes, indeed. It'll cue here in just a second. All right. Hi, I'm Chairman Nesbitt. We're here at the Elks Lodge celebrating the 100th birthday of Mr. James F. Davis, one of Rockdale County's oldest residents here in our community. 100 years is a major celebration for anyone, so we're here celebrating Mr. James F. Davis' 100th birthday. It is an honor for us to have him as a resident here in Rockdale County.
Let us pray. Father God, we come before you today and we thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. We dare not begin anything without acknowledging you as the head of all we are and all we hope to be. Father God, we thank you for the love that we feel in the room. We thank you for family and friends that have come from afar to show their love, Lord God, to Brother Davis, and to let him know how much he means to us and the impact that he's had on our lives. We ask that you would continue to bless this occasion on today. Let the love, Lord God, that we feel in our hearts and the love we feel from you take over in this celebration service. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Whereas James Franklin Davis will celebrate 100 years of life well lived on August 12, 2020, and his signature quote has been, "Inhaling and exhaling." And whereas James is a proud Navy veteran and was a member of the Merchant Marines and served the 36th president of the United States of America, Lyndon B. Johnson, in another capacity for over 40 years. May the celebration be a especially joyful reminder of a century of living life right and a happy addition to fond memories of birthdays past. I wish you a wonderful day as you celebrate this very special occasion, and I urge all Brookshire community to join with me in this special observance. Signed on the 20th day of July 2020 by the Mayor of Brookshire, Darrell Branch. Thank you.
When I was told that I was going to be in the presence of someone turning 100 years old, I said, now that right there by itself is enough to make me spring, jump, skip, and whistle up out the bed and all through the house
out the door and wherever I need to go. And I love that quote, inhaling and exhaling. Can y'all say that with me? Inhaling and exhaling. One more time. Inhaling and exhaling. Give Mr. Davis another round of applause. I tell you, for 100 years, and while I'm saying this, somebody that's in charge of this event, would you go ahead and identify the youngest person in this room? Now, how old is this baby? Come on, baby. Come on. How old is she? Okay, now stay there. 100 minus 4 is what? 96. Now, are y'all getting this? I really hope you're getting this. Come on, baby. Let me hold you here. I'm going to hold this baby here. 96 years ahead of her is Mr. Davis. It's a big deal for me. And let me tell you why it's personal for me. Mr. Davis, had my father been living, he would have been, compared to you, he would have been only 88 years old. He was a Korean War veteran. My mother would have only been a young 78 years old. All of my parents, my grandparents, all of them are deceased. They're all gone. And guess what? They've been gone. So to be in the midst of someone turning 100 years old is a huge deal, definitely for me. And to know that he worked for, watch this, for the 36th president of the United States, that's a huge deal. And for all of these young people in this room that really can't put all of that together, that's a lot of history for you to be amongst right here. Mr. Davis, we love you. God bless you. I'm gonna read a couple of these proclamations because we're gonna take all the time today that you have earned for us to celebrate you. Is that all right? Y'all give them another round of applause. By the Board of Commissioners, a proclamation. Whereas friends, family gathered to celebrate Mr. James Franklin Davis's 100th birthday, and whereas Mr. Davis is the oldest of 6 children born in Brookshire, Texas on August 12, 1920, and whereas family is the cornerstone of his existence, his love and devotion for his family is his biggest accomplishment and has influenced every decision he has made. We celebrate the lives of true gems like Mr. Davis because our elders are precious to our community. And we join his family and friends in wishing him on his birthday and in the years to come. Now, therefore, I, as the chairman of Rockdale County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim August 12th, 2020 in Rockdale County as Mr. James Franklin Davis Appreciation Day. Give him another round of applause. Mr. Davis, there's 2 things I want to say in closing. There's only 2 kind of people. Those that live in Rockdale County and those that wish they lived in Rockdale County. Give them another round of applause. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daddy. Happy birthday to you.
Mr. Davis, do you have any words you want to say?
I'll tell you the truth. I love what I hear. You haven't said too much when you go away, then you say, that's not true. But I enjoy all of y'all. As 100 years old, my conversation it's been shut down to very few words. That means you tell the truth most of the time. But I enjoy being here.
That's what that means.
What's up? Everybody, clap their hands. God bless all of us. Amen. The day itself is a surprise, but I haven't been sick. Mom remembers in the days that I've been born.
You have been sick?
No. Yeah. I celebrate it every day because that could be the last day, you know. And I'm really had a lovely life as far as living is concerned, and other four sisters and a brother. I'm so surprised. I'm not saying the good things I would like to say when I get home, I guess. I am a lucky religious joker. I mean, I've been around here almost I've been in 100 years and never had to go to a hospital or nothing. It's that simple. And I want to remind you, I think about it every day. Is this the last day? So far, I'm picking them up, putting them down.
Years is a big deal to celebrate. So, Mr. Davis, to you and your family and your friends, happy birthday to you. And Rockdale County, we have much to be proud of. Rockdale County is a much better place because of Mr. James F. Davis. Happy birthday. Happy 100 years, Mr. Davis. So thank you to Michael from the Public Relations Department who joined me in celebration and highlighting and memorializing Mr. James Davis's 100th birthday. As you all know that Rockdale County, this year we are celebrating our 150th year as a county. And we will certainly be adding and highlighting Mr. Davis, a part of our historical archives and information about the county as we move forward. I want to say thank you to all of you all for watching this presentation and being patient. I think anybody who have lived 100 years can stop traffic just for a moment, just for folks to bow down to them. And I thank you for listening and paying attention to as we celebrated the birthday of Mr. Tomorrow. He'll be 100, officially tomorrow is his birthday. He'll be 100 years old. The Rockdale County Fire Department and the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office will be doing a salute and tribute drive-by at his home in Rockdale County as we again pay salute to Mr. James F. Davis and his family. But thank you to Director Diaz and and Michael Yates from our PR department who came out and produced the video as a gift to him and his family and for many years to come. And we will also, I understand Director Rutledge will be archiving that video along with other historical artifacts here in Rockdale County. Director Rutledge, is there any need for executive session for this meeting this morning? No, Mr. Chairman. With that being said, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for coming out. Don't forget to keep your mask on. Don't forget as you exit the building to pick up information concerning the census. Happy Tuesday. Stay safe. This meeting is adjourned.